He reads the text that appears on the screen of this machine. All it says is, "See receptionist." And after she scanned it, all she could do was say, "Oh my God. Oh my God." At first, Tayyeb's salary had been enough to provide for the family, but as his family grew, his salary just wasn't enough, and money became a real problem. With 2 full-time working adults, the family had to stay on a very strict budget just to make ends meet. But despite his financial struggles, Tayyeb did not let it bother him. He was an eternal optimist who fundamentally believed that in the end, everything would just work itself out. Tayyeb was on his way home from work when his wife called him and asked if he would swing by the grocery store and pick up some orange juice. When he pulls into his driveway, he gets out, he goes into the house, he goes right into the kitchen where his wife was, and he proudly set the orange juice down on the kitchen table, expecting a thank you. But his wife turned around and she looked at the orange juice and she immediately said, "How much did you pay for that?" And Tayyeb said, $5. And she said, "Well, you got to take it back because I know that brand is on sale for $2.50 at the grocery store right down the road. So go return this one." A few minutes later, he arrived at the Hackensack, New Jersey ShopRite. He went inside and he went straight to the customer service desk and he asked for a refund. He looked behind the cashier at the wall and there was this sign that totally piqued his interest. Finally, the teenage cashier, he reaches out across the counter with Tayyeb's $5 and Tayyeb takes the $5, but then he pauses for a second and he's kind of looking up at the sign. If he does what the sign is telling him to do, he's going to get in trouble with his wife. But Tayyeb just couldn't help it, and he takes the $5 and he proceeds to hand it right back to the cashier, and he tells the cashier what he wants him to do with it. Tayyeb leaves the ShopRite with 2 small slips of paper in his back pocket. And so Tayyeb hops in his car, he gets the on-sale bottle of orange juice, he drives home, he goes in the kitchen, and he sets the juice on the counter, and he's just hoping the whole time that she has not checked the bank account and has not discovered what he had really been doing while he was out. But apparently his wife had not checked the account yet, and she just thanked him. Early the next morning, Tayyeb got up and he decided, I need to do something to curry some favor with my wife because she's gonna learn what I did with the refund money pretty soon. And so he decided he would just go out and do a bunch of yard work that day, right in front of his wife, to make sure she really saw that he was doing some good stuff. And so he goes outside when he notices his car is really dirty. And so he decides, you know what, I'm going to go wash my car first. As he was driving to the car wash, he made a pit stop at a small store that was set back off the road. And so he goes inside and he goes right to the back of this little store where there's this strange machine that looks like an ATM. He pulls out those 2 slips of paper he had got from the grocery store cashier the night before, and he puts the first one under the scanner, and then he reads the text that appears on the screen of this machine. He kind of shrugs his shoulders, and then the second slip of paper he puts into the scanner, and then when he reads the words that pop up on the screen, he thinks there's been a mistake because all it says is "See receptionist." He turns around and he walks to the front of the store and he hands the paper to the woman behind the counter. Over an hour later, Tayyeb pulled into his driveway and he sat in his driveway for a second. He was still shaking from what had just happened inside of that small store, and so he gets out of his car, which was still totally dirty, and he made his way into the house and he went straight to the kitchen where his wife was. And so as soon as he gets in the kitchen, his wife turns around and looks at him and says, "Where were you? The car wash is like 5 minutes away. Why were you gone for like 2 hours?" But Tayyeb, he's got no expression on his face, and he looks at his wife and just says, "Give me $100. And his wife scrunches her face up at him and says, "No, where's your money?" And Tayyeb smiles, he turns around, he reaches into his back pocket, and he pulls out that second slip of paper, and he hands it to his wife, and he says, "Here's my money." After getting that $5 refund, Tayyeb noticed a sign on the back wall that was advertising for a Moneyball jackpot lottery, and he had decided to use the $5 refund to buy 2 lottery tickets. And the machine he was using was a machine that scanned your lottery tickets to see if they were winners. And so the first ticket he scanned, it was a dud, it didn't win anything. The second ticket, when he scanned it, it couldn't process the amount of money he had just won. And so that's why it told him to see the receptionist. And so he brought the second ticket up to the counter, he handed it to the woman, and after she scanned it and saw the amount of money he had won, all she could do was say, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And when he asked her, "What are you looking at? What happened?" She just goes, "Big." And so when he got home, Tayyeb handed that slip to his wife, and on it was the amount of money that he had won. He was the jackpot winner. he had won $315 million. Tayyab would say that he and his wife and his kids all laughed and cried and celebrated in the kitchen all night, and within a couple of days, Tayyab had left his job, he retired, and he had paid off all of his family's debts. And at his press conference for the New Jersey lottery, he was quoted as saying, "I love orange juice now. Just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's going to do it. See ya."